Welcome indoor cycling fans for the Ronde Van Vlaanderen here on RGT. We focus on RF in the black RGT outfit. 35.5 kilometers today. And of course the Ronde Van Vlaanderen. There's a lot of climbing on the OUDE KWAREMONT in the PATERBERG. 672 altitude meters in total. RF started well, trying to stay close to the first group, trying to make as much use as possible of the draft in RGT. And this is the highlights of this race. And at certain points we will fast forward a little, just to keep things interesting. But of course we will return to normal speed at the start of the OUDE KWAREMONT. The group behind already 40 meters behind. Now moving up to the front. So like I said earlier, breakaway group of 16 riders, and RF still part of it. The KWAREMONT starts in 200 meters. We'll return to a normal playback speed. Will RF survive his first time on RGT on the OUDE KWAREMONT? He's trying to go on the attack, or at least try to create a small gap. I am now in the wheel of RF. Most of the riders doing 4 to 4.5 watts at the start of this climb. Now RF pushing on a little bit more, 5.3 watts, also 8. Now in the wheel of RF. 500 meters into this climb, slope of 7.4%. RF is definitely creating a small gap over some of the riders in that first group. .4 kilometers left to go, and RF out of the saddle. Now onto the cobblestones. Looking behind, you see it well, all the riders still close. Really a nice course on RGT. Now incline of 10.3%. RF struggling a little. Trying to catch up with the 3 riders in front. Stacey, Alice, Suhard, and also 8. So now 5 riders with a small gap. Now Stacey in first, RF pushing on a little bit more. Now 1 kilometer left to go on this pretty hard climb. The hardest part of the climb is already done. Still those 5 riders in front, RF, Stacey, Suhard, 8 and Alice. And then there's a group of 4 riders, approximately 140 meters behind on this group. Stacey pushing on, RF trying to catch his wheel. Doing 7 watts, trying to close the gap. Now back again into the wheel of Stacey. Good job. And in the back, Alice and 8 are struggling a little. So now we have 3 riders in the front. Suhard, Stacey and RF in second. Good start from our Belgian team member. Almost at the top. Just a small push needed here at the end of the Oude KWAREMONT. On the right, you see RF with the second fastest time. The most important thing is to be part of this group, of course, just to increase the gap over 8 and Alice. Now the 3 riders are taking a small breather, it seems. Still, as you can see in the top right hand corner, slope of now at 2.4%, so not completely flat. From now on it's going downhill. Ref trying to take the wheel of Stacy while we speed things up once again. And the three riders now have a decent gap over Alice and Aid. Also Nichols trying to get back into the race. So by him. And the three riders in the front are not really pushing on at the moment. Now we're at the start of the Paterberg. First time today. And it's Stacy with a strong push at the start of the Paterberg. Only 346 meters, 240 left to go. Now RF with a strong push maybe. Doing 8 watts. Short breather. I think it makes more sense to wait for the others. It's too early in the race to go for a lonely breakaway. 100 meters left to go on the Paterberg. Incline of 19%. And here's a Suhard from France. Pushing on at the end of the Paterberg, creating a small gap over RF. The gap between RF and Suhard is now 90 meters. Is it possible for RF to close this gap? Actually, still doing well in this race. The gap more or less stays the same. Now RF seems to pace himself, now pushing on, getting closer to Suhard. Suhard is now in the line of sight of RF. It's always good for some extra motivation. And the gap is now 50 meters. So RF definitely closing in. just behind RF, Stacey and 8. In 5th and 6th we have Alison Noble. So this race is still not over. Now RF rejoins with a Suhard while we speed things up. Good job. RF now taking over. Almost at the Oude KWAREMONT once again. RF now in the wheel of Suhard. You can see on the right that on the first time on the Oude KWAREMONT, both riders were almost just as fast. So interesting duel now on the Oude KWAREMONT. And there's Stacey and 8. Not far behind, and that's why RF is pushing on. The gap is only 30 meters. So once again another exciting race here on RGT. And for sure, pacing and tactics will be important at this moment in the race. RF now with a small gap over Suhard. There's still a long way to go. .4 to go. Now once again on the cobblestones. Four riders in the front. Almost pushing on just as fast. Here's a Suhard once again in the wheel of RF and instantly taking over. No, RF with another push. 7.8 watts at the moment. And now Suhard 9 meters behind. 8 and Stacey now struggling. 45 meters. Suhard with a strong push. 8 watts. Creating a gap over RF once again. And now RF struggling a little. 40 meters behind Suhard after that strong push. Looks like he's a little in doubt. Should he go for it or wait for a Stacey and 8? He has to decide fast. The gap over Suhard now 120 meters. And still 900 meters left to go here on the Oude KWAREMONT. Suhard now is definitely out of sight. So I think this time RF won't be able to catch up on Suhard. But there he is. Only 60 meters at the moment. And RF is definitely pushing on. Now he's definitely catching up. Maybe Suhard pushed on a little bit too early. 200 meters left to go. Just needs to push on that final last part of the climb. That's what Suhard is now doing. Drops back a little. And now RF taking over. So still a good job, but Suhard was definitely stronger, it seems. Although RF managed to get back into the wheel of Suhard. And Stacey and 8 now 170 meters behind. Speeding things up once again. Still a long way to go into this race, 20.5 kilometers. A lot can still happen. Shortly taking over, but taking the wheel of Suhard once again. Almost at the start of the PATERBERG. Once again, Suhard pushing on at that last part, creating a gap over RF once again, and 8 is getting really close right now. The gap with Suhard now seems a bit too big. I think Suhard is off. And in third we have 8, and also Stacy is struggling at the moment. So at this moment in the race, RF is definitely going for a top 3 spot. And here's 8. Closing in on RF, 30 meters behind. It is pushing on, trying to join with RF. 5 meters. RF pushing on once again. Doesn't want to give in at the moment. But here's 8. Catching up on RF right before the start of the OUDE KWAREMONT. But as you can see on the right, RF was 11 seconds faster here on the OUDE KWAREMONT. So hopefully he can create a gap once again over 8. Maybe Stacy can get back into the race because he was faster here than 8. So this is an important moment in the race for RF. Taking the wheel now of 8. Here's Stacy. Only 40 meters behind. So are these 3 riders getting back together? At the moment they're looking at each other, it seems. Not really overdoing themselves. Who's going on the attack for the first time? Now RF out of the saddle. Instant reaction from 8, and in the back Stacy as well. He's not getting really closer here. The gap more or less still 40 meters. And just up ahead there was Suhard. Just going into that corner. So maybe it's time to push on a little bit more. Gap with Suhard, almost 100 meters at the moment. And still a great battle between RF, 8 and Stacey. Now was Suhard pushing on, increasing the gap. And 8 not really letting go. And RF just pacing himself, going up the Oude KWAREMONT. Seems like Stacey is struggling a little, falling behind a bit more. Now 75 meters. 80 now. But still RF can get rid of 8. It seems like RF is on his own. Maybe it would have been better if he was together with 8 here. Work as a team to catch up on Suhard maybe. Stacey is definitely falling behind at the moment. RF with a last push here, 250 meters left to go. Not really overdoing, just pacing. Just reserve some energy maybe. Even on the climb. Once again at that nasty last part of the Oude KWAREMONT. "28 seconds slower than his fastest time. Speeding things up once again. Especially on this downhill section, RF will have to push on. He's a low weight rider, so maybe 8 can still get back into the race. He's now together once again with Stacey, so maybe if the two work as a team, everything is still possible. Also Brown and Noble in 5th and 6th are still together. And Alice dropping further behind. Now in 8 together with Nichols. Here you see it well. RF from time to time pushing on the downhill. Looking behind, still no sight of Stacey and Aid. Almost at the Paterberg once again. And this is going to be important. Fastest time of Aid is 14 seconds faster than RF. So 8 is definitely explosive. So I think RF needs to push on. Gap with Stacey and 8, 70 meters. RF out of the saddle, but there they are, Stacey and 8. Like I said earlier, races on RGT never seem over. Always some new excitement around the corner. And 8 is pushing on. But RF is not giving up as well. Doing 5 watts more or less. Out of the saddle, 7 watts. Trying to increase the gap over 8. Looks like Stacey is struggling. Now on the 19.4 section of the Paterberg. Looking behind, great view here of the incline. 8 really closing in, 36 meters. So RF needs one last final push. He's 8 seconds slower than his personal record here on the Paterberg. So at the end of the race, still a good job. And now on the downhill, he needs to push on. You can see it well, 8 is really closing in at the moment. Aid got rid of Stacey. The gap with RF, only 110 meters. I think it's going to be hard for him. Gap now 90 meters. Almost at the oude KWAREMONT. RF pushing on. Hopefully he still has some gas left in the tank to push on here on the oude KWAREMONT. Still decent, doing a 4 watts. $300 in on the Oude KWAREMONT. An 8 in the back, 70 meters. This definitely has been the battle throughout this race. RF was battling it out with a Suhard earlier on, but Suhard was a little bit too strong. And RF still around that 4 watts mark. But 8 is really getting close. Just behind the corner there. That's why he's pushing on a little bit harder. 5.2 at the moment. But, dropping back a little. 3.5. The gap with 880 meters. Almost at the cobblestones. And Stacy still not giving up as well. Trying to get back to 8. Now RF with a strong push. 7.6 watts. Those are only short bursts. Pretty tough stage, this one. 1.2 kilometers left to go on the Oude KWAREMONT. Now 8 is pushing on, 75 meters behind. Needs to hold on, 900 meters left to go, incline of 2.9%. Or if I can let go now. Needs to keep on going here on this almost flat section. Once again pushing on. Strong push now. 450 meters left to go. All the way in the back. Quick view of 8. 94 meters behind on RF. Almost at the end of the oude KWAREMONT, 300 meters left to go. And it's 8 pushing on. And, therefore RF with a reaction. Definitely a lot slower this time. "47 seconds slower than the fastest time. But he still has a small push here at the end. Speeding things up. 3.7 kilometers left to go. Pushing on the smaller inclines. But I think it's going to be hard to keep in front of 8 on the downhill part. And of course he needs to reserve some energy for a last time on the PATERBERG. He's definitely taking things slow. Not really doing more than 2 watts. I think maybe he should do a little bit more. Because in the back, 8 is closing in fast, only 110 meters more or less. Now RF increasing the gap once again, but all depends on where you are on this downhill section, of course. PATERBERG starts in 200 meters. Last final push of this great stage. And 8 is 70 meters left behind on RF. And looks like an 8 with a strong push. Now RF 9 watts and 8 almost 9 watts as well. Strong push here from boat riders at the end of the stage. But I think 8 is a bit faster at the moment. Is RF able to keep it up? It doesn't look like it. Ah, that's a pity all the way at the end of this stage. 8 with a strong push and RF is completely toast, it seems. He's still trying, 5.8 now. But 8 is still pushing on. So good job there from the Englishman at the end of the stage. And RF has to watch out because in the back Noble is pushing on as well. Noble now in 4th, Stacy in 5th. So Suhard in 1st, 8 in 2nd, and it looks like RF is on his way for a podium finish. I don't think Noble will be able to catch up. RF is almost at the top. So a good race, but just a pity all the way at the end. Not enough power to hold off 8. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this. Here are some final stats on the Ronde Van Vlaanderen stage. And here's the final ranking for today. As you can see, we have RF from the team in 3rd. Congratulations to Suhard, and 8 in 2nd. And I hope to see you once again for some more RGT action here on the channel. See you next time.